Welcome back to another episode today of the UFC Ultimate Fitness Club. So this is physical training, as we refer to it, PT. So today, we're going to be covering jumping rope. Now, I'm sure a lot of you guys have done this before at school, or I'm sure a lot of you guys have done jump rope for heart, and there's a good reason why they do that sort of thing. So firstly, I want to get started by a quote from the American Association for Health, and they say that a 10-minute daily program of rope skipping is as efficient as a particular 30-minute daily program of jogging for improving cardiovascular efficiency. So what that basically means is cardiovascular refers to the system of your heart and your heart health. So the more efficient your cardiovascular system is, the better your heart is at pumping blood through your body as you work out and in your day-to-day life. So what this study found is that 10 minutes of skipping is just as effective as 30 minutes of running. Now, I myself, I hate running, but I like skipping. So for me to do 15 to 20 minutes of skipping is way easier than going out for a run because I don't like running and it's a lot harder on my knees. So I like to skip and it's a phenomenal workout. What they found is that 15 minutes of jumping rope can burn between 200 to 300 calories. So that's a pretty good calorie burn for the amount of exercise you're going to be doing. So what jumping rope does is it allows you to coordinate your whole body together as you move your wrists and you jump, which strengthens your cognition, your brain function. And basically what that'll do is allow you to get better at doing more things at once, as well as getting a really good workout in. So I have just a list here of things that jumping rope improves. So as I said earlier, cardiovascular health, which is your heart and your blood flow system, as well as coordination. So that is coordination and mind-muscle connection. So what that means is having a connection between what's going on in your head and what's going on in your body. So you need to pay attention to what you're doing as you do your movements so that you can properly make sure that you're getting the right amount of effect for the amount of work that you're doing. And that improves your coordination as well. And that's important in jump rope especially because you're jumping and you're timing it with the movements of your wrist. Another thing it really helps improve, which is very important for even just day-to-day life, is VO2 max. Now what VO2 max is the maximum rate of oxygen consumption. Now that's all just fancy words to basically say that the amount of oxygen you can intake per breath. So while you're working out or while you're doing things in your day-to-day life, every time you breathe, you only intake a certain amount of oxygen. Now doing this sort of exercise can improve the maximum amount of oxygen that you can intake per breath. So, that's why that's important, and that's just important in general. So every time that you get caught up huffing and heaving and breathing really heavy, that would signify probably a low VO2 max. So you want to work on that to improve that so that you can be just as effective in any type of exercise. Another thing jumping rope is great for is injury prevention. Because you're doing lots of fine movements and lots of things that are kind of hard on your joints but not as hard as running, you will be able to strengthen your ankles, strengthen your wrists, and just strengthen your bone density in general. So it just general up and down jumping motion just can be good for your body to kind of harden itself. Jumping rope also improves your agility and strength, as I was saying. Now when I started boxing, jumping rope was terrible. I was really bad at it and it's really hard and it is exhausting. You get tired really fast. But as you get better at those fine movements and jumping and going quicker and quicker, and as you learn to do different kinds of jumps, just your general agility and your muscle strength increases. And you might not notice it at first, but after a month of, say, doing 15 minutes a day, I will guarantee that you will notice a difference. Because you use different muscles that you don't use in just walking or something like that. So after you do, say, like your first workout, and say you do really hard 10 minutes, you're going to notice that you're going to feel it in the bottoms of your feet and up the sides of your legs and in your ankles. But that's really going to help you in the long run because it makes you more agile, makes you more strong, and especially in the field of boxing, that's why a lot of boxers do jumping, like skipping rope, because it helps them strengthen their wrists and strengthen their ankles so that they can move better. And like I said earlier, it helps improve cognition, which is just a fancy term again for brain function. The reason this is so beneficial is because the combination of coordination, rhythm, and strategy is what challenges your brain to find a more efficient way to work together with your body. And so that ties right in with what I was saying about mind-muscle connection, is being aware of your mentality as you go into your workout. And so through skipping, you have to coordinate your body together with a proper rhythm, and you have to have a strategy to do that. So by doing all these things, you will make your brain stronger while you make your body stronger. So for today's workout, we're going to start off with jumping rope. So jumping rope, again, great exercise, great cardiovascular exercise. It'll get you breathing heavy. So we're going to use it as our warm-up. So for today, what we're going to do is we're going to do 2 minutes of skipping and 1 minute of rest. We're going to do that 3 times. So that in total will equal up to 6 minutes of skipping and 3 minutes of rest for 9 minutes total. So I consider this a pretty good place to start, because doing 2 minutes at a time doesn't sound hard, but once you start to do it, you'll realize how difficult it is. So as you get better at skipping rope, and if you want to do this, say, 3 times a week or daily, I would recommend, you will notice that you will get better and your timing will get better and you will be able to go for longer periods of time. But we will start with 6 minutes. It's important, of course, to drink water. Whenever you're resting, don't chug water, sip your water. So over here, I have my water bottle. I forgot my actual water bottle at home, but I have this one. It's a nice big 2-liter jug, so I'm gonna try and drink this whole thing by the end of the day. So for the actual workout itself, we have what's referred to as a pyramid set. And again, it's a body weight workout like we did last week. So last week I showed you 3 of these exercises. And so we're gonna do 3 of them today. Well, actually 4 of them. So we're gonna start with burpees, everyone's favorite. I hate them. And then we're gonna do squats, and then we're gonna do push-ups. So that's gonna be 1 set, and we're gonna finish each set with a 15-second plank, and then we'll rest for 1 minute. So you're probably looking at this triangle and you hear the word pyramid set, so this is where we get it from. So the idea of the pyramid set is that you start at a low number and you slowly increase the amount of reps that you do, and then you go back down. So what basically this does is you progressively overload your body and then you bring down the tension. So that just is a good way for you to generally structure some of your workouts in a way that will help you increase the amount of work you're gonna do, and then you're gonna bring it down towards the end and finish it off with a nice stretch. So how this works is, for the first one, we're gonna do 2. So referring to this, we're gonna do 2 burpees, and then we're gonna do 2 squats, we're gonna do 2 push-ups, and then we're gonna plank for 15 seconds, rest for 1 minute. That will be 1 set. After you do that one, we're gonna go to 4. We're gonna do 4 burpees, then we're gonna do 4 squats, then we're gonna do 4 push-ups, and to finish it off, plank for 15 seconds and rest for 1 minute. Now, if you see the numbers here, they go 2, 4, 6, 8. 8 is the most we're gonna do, and then we're gonna go back down to 6, 4, and then 2 again, and we'll be done. So myself and 2 other volunteers here at the Boys and Girls Club, they're college students actually, Ron and Kaitlyn, you will see them after. They're gonna help me demonstrate these exercises for you guys, but we're not gonna do the full workout today just because we don't have a lot of time to record, so you're gonna do them at home. And down here at the bottom, I just have a couple of things to say. What I really want to emphasize today is that you do your best. Now, if you see someone else working out or you see people and they look like they're in really good shape, it's important to remember that everyone starts somewhere. So what I really want to emphasize today is that you do your best and then you do better. What that means is that every time you're going to go do exercise or you're going to do something, anything in life, you want to do your best. And next time you go do it, you want to do a little bit better. Because if you keep doing a little bit better, steps make a mile, right? Another point I want to say here, your biggest opponent is yourself. It's very important in life, and especially in fitness, not to compare yourself to others. It's easy to see on TV, all the fancy looking people, they're all really attractive, have really nice bodies, right? Your biggest opponent is always going to be yourself, because at the end of the day, that's the only person that matters, is you. And it's important that you are aware that you should matter the most to yourself. And so last point here I want to make here before we talk about the cool down is that good form plus intentional repetition will equal improvement. So what that goes to say is good form is perfecting your technique, whether it's a push-up, whether it's a burpee, whether it's a squat. You want to make sure that you have as perfect form as you can, because exercise is a skill and we need to work on it. So it is a process. So you will work on your good form. And with each repetition or each one that you do, you want to have the intent behind it of having a perfect form. And what that means to say is that the aim of each exercise that you do is to strengthen a certain part of the body. So if you keep that in mind, that you need to have perfect technique or good form, and you intend to perfectly execute every move, you will improve. So that is the most important thing I want to stress today. Whether you can do a full regular push-up or you can do a crazy amount of burpees and do a backflip in it, it doesn't matter. Because if you're doing the modified version or you're doing some crazy other version where you do a crazy amount of moves, it doesn't matter. What really matters is that you perfect your form and you intend to do your best. So after we do all that and keep all this in mind, we're going to do a cool down, which is just basic stretching like I did last week, as referred to isometric stretching. It's just a fancy term for holding something in a certain position, like you hold here, right? So we're going to do that and then we'll be all done. So we're going to head over to the gym and we'll get started with that. All right, so Ron and myself are going to demonstrate some jumping rope techniques. The basic technique itself is you hold one handle in each hand. How you can measure if your jump rope is the right height for you is you're going to step right in the middle with one foot and you're going to hold it up like this. Now the handle should come up right between the middle of your chest, right along the nipple line, and you should be able to hold it there, and that should be perfect right there. So for me, that's good. Yours is good? Cool. So the basic technique for jumping rope is you want to hold your hand about waist height. And you want to make sure that when you're jumping, you're not swinging your arms around a lot, it's moving your wrists. So it's a lot about moving your wrists. I'm going to demonstrate with one hand. And as you come, you don't want to swing your arm in big circles because that's going to make the rope have too much slack and you're not going to be able to properly jump over it. So you want tight circles with your wrist. So a lot of the movement comes from here. And a lot of this is going to strengthen your wrist. It's good for boxing and things like that because it strengthens your wrist. And yeah. And so for the jumping part, you don't want to take big jumps. You're not taking big 2-foot jumps, just small jumps. You want to bounce on the balls of your feet. Just little small jumps like that. So when we put them all together, you start like this. What I have to do is just one big swing over and jump. From there, that's moving right now. So as you keep moving your wrist, you want to keep them at waist height. So you usually do this for about 2 minutes, and that's what I have on the program. Oh, I messed up. Yeah. So, here on, keep on. You want to make sure you hold your elbows a little more in place, and use more of the wrists. There you go. You see how Ron is keeping his hands at about hip level? He wants to keep his hands there. Because the second you start to bring your hands up, the whole rope is going to come off the floor and you're going to pick yourself up. Alright, so set a timer for 2 minutes, and you can do that, and then I'm going to show you a modification that you can do instead of jumping rope if you don't have a jump rope at home or you are not able to jump rope. Alright, so if you don't have a jump rope or you think that you're not able to jump rope or not comfortable with jump roping, that's alright too. We have an alternate exercise that we can do here. So basically how this is going to work is we're going to go for 30 seconds at a time. We're going to do 4 exercises. So the first one is what we call fast feet. So if you ever heard in school, with the sport readiness position, you can do a bit of a squat here, spread your feet out about shoulder width apart. And when you do your fast feet, you're going to keep your hands up in front of you, and then you're just basically going to run on a squat. So we're going to do this for 30 seconds. We're not actually going to do it for 30 seconds, but at home you're going to do it for 30 seconds, and then you're going to switch. You stand up, you do jumping jacks. You're going to do this for 30 seconds. Once 30 seconds is passed, you stop, high knees. Once you're done for 30 seconds, stop again, back to fast feet. And we're going to do that until you finish your 2 minutes. So you do 3 rounds of that, rest 1 minute in between each set, and then we're going to move on to the actual workout itself. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and get started with our workout here. So for the first set, we're going to do 2 of each exercise. I demonstrated these ones in our last workout video, but I'm going to demonstrate them again just so you guys can be sure. So the first exercise is a burpee. So the full burpee goes like this. You're going to put your hands down as you squat, kick your feet out here, and do a push-up, come up, feet come back in, and as you go to stand up, you jump as high as you can. For the squat, same thing. You're going to spread your feet out a little wider than shoulder width apart. And as you're going to sit, you're going to pretend you're sitting in a chair. Now you want your knees to come to about 90 degrees. So demonstrate this way. And so it should be like you're sitting in the chair and it should be almost a 90-degree angle. You kind of want to keep your knees behind your toes. And then the push-up, pretty self-explanatory. Lay down on your stomach. Your thumbs are going to come under your shoulders and you're going to spread your fingers out, feet together, and as you come off the floor, straight up. So in the up position is going to be the push-up position. So you go down and then up. Okay, so now we're going to start with the actual workout itself. So for the first one, we're going to do 2 burpees, 2 squats, and 2 push-ups. Then we're going to plank for 15 seconds, and we're going to rest. So we're going to start with the first one. So we'll do 2 burpees. 1, 2. Now we're going to do 2 squats. Down, up, down, and up. Now we're going to do 2 push-ups. Down, and up, down, and up. Now to finish that off, I'm going to turn on my timer here. We're going to do a 15-second plank. Ready, set, go. You want to try and keep your butt down too while you're doing this. Really engage your core. Three, 2, 1, good. And now we have a minute to rest. So go ahead, shake it out, drink some water, come back for the next set. All right, so before we get started with our next set, with the help of Kaitlyn here, she's gonna help demonstrate some modifications that you can do if you say you can't do a full burpee or a full push-up or things like that. It's okay to modify the exercises as long as you're still getting the full repetitions in and make sure that you're doing your best there. So for the burpee modification, Kaitlyn's gonna show us. So she's gonna squat down, hands on the ground. Yep, and she's just gonna step out. Hold the plank position there, and then she's gonna step back in. Yep, stand up and jump. Now you don't have to do jump if you can't do it, but if you can, I would strongly encourage you to do that. So for this set, we're gonna do 4 of those, and then for the squats, for a modification for the squats, say if you can't do the full squat, you can just go maybe halfway down. And then the push-up modifications. It's very simple. I'm sure you've heard of modified push-ups. They're referred to sometimes as girl push-ups, but they're not. They're just modified for everyone who can't do a full push-up, which is all right, because we all start somewhere. So Kaitlyn's going to demonstrate the modified push-up. In the push-up position, knees on the ground. Yep. So the only thing I'm going to say is cross your ankles together. So when you cross, yep. And then she comes down and she's going to come back up. One more thing, I'm just going to get you to bring your elbows in. So when you're doing your push-ups, I'm just going to demonstrate over here. When you're doing your push-ups, you don't want to flare your elbows up as you go in. You want your elbows to be at a 45-degree angle from your body. So as you come up, you're pushing. So by having your shoulder over your wrist and keeping your elbow in line at a 45-degree angle, you're going to activate more of your inner chest here. So for the modified version, knees together, cross your ankles, keep your feet up in the air, go down, touch your chest almost to the floor, and then straight up. Okay, so we've demonstrated all the exercises, and you know what to do. We can refer to them here if you'd like. So the basic structure goes like this, like I explained earlier. So we did the first 2, and then we did 4, and so now at home, you're going to continue on, and you're going to do 6 of each exercise, 8 of each exercise, then you're going to go back down to 6, do 4, and then do 2, with a plank and a rest in between each one. So as you see, we climb the pyramid, come to the top, and we come back down. And so after we're done with all that, I'm going to go back over to the mat and show you guys just a quick cool down routine, just to stretch it out like we did last time. Make sure that you, stretching is important. So we're going to do that. All right, good job everyone. You finished the workout. So now we're going to do some stretching. It's important to stretch because as you're working out, you're tearing muscle fibers, and if you don't stretch out after and cool down, you're going to hurt yourself. So when you wake up tomorrow, if you don't stretch, you're going to be extra sore and it's going to hurt. You'll still be a little sore after a workout, even if you do stretch, but that's okay. There's a difference between a good sore and like a stiff, like tight sore, because that's not good for you. So yeah, we'll just get started with that now. So the first one we're going to do is we're going to do our neck. So we're going to start with doing some neck circles. We're going to go counterclockwise. We have 3 of those. Then we'll switch direction. Make sure as you're doing it, you can feel all the muscles in your neck. You come around, and stop, And just lightly, I'm going to grab the top of my head. I'm just going to pull slightly. You don't want to pull hard, just enough to feel the stretch in here. And hold that. 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, shake it out. Other side. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So the reason we hold for 8 is just you want to get a nice long stretch. And again, if you're pulling on something, don't pull hard because you will pull something. When I'm here, it's just a light tug just to kind of stretch those muscles up your neck. So that's our next stretch. We're going to move to shoulders. So our shoulders and arms, we're going to do arm circles again. So we're going to start big, going forward. And as we go, we're going to get smaller. Keep going, keep getting smaller, smaller, smaller. And we're making tiny circles. There we go. Hit the middle. Now we're going to go backwards. Get bigger and bigger and bigger. That's going to stretch out everything in your joints. Okay, shake it out real quick. For our shoulders, we're going to stretch across the front like this. So right arm across, left arm grabs the tricep. You should feel it in the side of your shoulder here. So as you pull across, especially with the burpees and things like that, it can be pretty high impact on our joints, so it's important to stretch these ones out. Shake it out. Switch. Left arm across, right arm on your tricep. And a pull. We'll shake all that out. I'll show you, just come over here if you can. So this is a stretch we're going to do for our chest and our biceps. All you need is like a corner of a wall. This is called the bent arm wall stretch. So bend your arm like this, put it up against the wall. And as you go, you're just going to kind of feel that pulling. You're going to put your pressure from here, and you're going to lean forward, and you should feel the stretch right across this whole inner chest muscle from the middle of your body all the way through to your arm. So as you put pressure there, I'm going to stretch it out. I'm going to straighten it out. Now I'm going to turn this way. And that should get you a nice stretch right in here. So I'm going to hold that. And then I'm going to stretch out the other side. We got our arms and stuff stretched out, we got our chest all stretched out, we're going to move to our core. So we did this one last week, I think, but the Cobra Pose is one of my favorite stretches for my abs and lower back. So we're going to get in the push-up position, and then we're going to come down. We're going to bring all our hips all the way down to the ground. We're going to rest on the ground. And then you can take your feet off the ground, just plant them straight. You want to kind of push your abs up, so that your upper body is facing up as much this way as you can. And you're going to feel the stretch in your abs as you push up this way. And hold that. I find this helps my lower back too. I try not to do too much exercise without doing the stretch first, just because I get a sore lower back. And this really helps. Okay. Now we're going to do a leg stretch. So this one's pretty easy. Toe touches, everyone's done before. And put your feet together, or pretty close together, without bending your knees. You're going to bend over at the waist. Come down. It's okay if you can't really touch your toes yet. I still can't do it, still working on it. That really works your hamstring stretches, and as you learn to stretch that out, and if you do this before and after workouts, you'll notice that before you're a little more stiff, but after you do a full workout, you should be able to just about reach further than before. After you do that, straighten up, feet apart, shoulder width, just a little wide on the shoulder width, and we're just going to thrust our hips out like this, and that's going to stretch the inside of our core muscles. Stretch here, hold, and back. And do the toe touch one more time. Feet back together, and come down at the waist. Make sure you're not bending your knees. Because if you bend your knees, you're going to be able to touch your toes, but you're not going to get the stretch here. So that's important for you to make sure that your knees stay straight. 6, 7, 8. Okay, now stand up, shake your legs out. Next one is again for your groin muscles as well. These are core muscles and they can get pulled very easily. So we're going to do the side lunge. I think I did this one last week as well. I'm going to demonstrate again. So you're going to take a step out and you're going to bend over this knee. You want to make sure again that this knee is not past your toe. So as you're here, you can kind of put your hand on the ground here or here, whatever makes you better for your balance. But essentially you want to stretch out the inside of your leg here. Knee back up, go back to shoulder width. I'm going to step out this way. I'm going to come down here. So I'm stretching out the other leg, and this leg should be pretty much straight. 6, 7, 8. Okay. Now we're just going to do some ankle circles. So balance on one foot. Ankle's going to go clockwise. Do that. Switch directions. Okay. Other foot. Go a few lows. Switch directions. Should be good. Shake it out. Shake it out. We're going to do one more like that, except this time we're going to lift our toes off the ground. And we're going to go like this. This one's a little harder because you have to balance, but you're going to make circles with your toes. And switch feet. Just do circles like that. And just stretch out your ankles and your joints, especially after skipping, because skipping can be pretty hard on your joints at first if you're not used to all the jumping, because you're using muscles you've never used before. I know that every time I take a break, I switch feet. Every time I take a break from like working out or skipping or anything, and I come back to it, my legs, like in my feet, like in the balls of my feet, are really sore. So this is really good for just stretching out the ankles. Okay, switch feet. Okay. All right, well, good job everyone. Thank you for joining us today. I think we'll be back again next week, but if not, we'll see us around the club. And yeah, have a good weekend everyone.